Hi, Pisces. Thank you so much for stopping by. So, I am here to do your love reading. This is going to be for Pisces, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus. When I pulled out that Nine of Wands, I was hearing spiritual strength or something, or having to have spiritual strength. So, it feels like coming up here, this is the outcome. There's definitely a lot to do right now in the Twin Flame Collective with facing fears, facing our struggles in different ways, in different ways. It's like I'm getting with the Seven of Swords here coming up that a lot of you who are on this journey right now, there's something about the moon as well. We do actually have a full moon yesterday, and it's still around, obviously, the energy. So there could even be something really significant with this full moon that we have that is highlighting a lot with the twin flames at the moment. And it feels like with the Ace of Cups here and the Ace of Wands, the masculine and feminine are definitely mirroring each other right now when it comes to something brewing, something wanting to begin, something wanting to start up, okay? And it feels like both are also mirroring each other in a way where it kind of feels like a lot of things I'm hearing that may have been taken for granted in the past are starting to be reevaluated. Like maybe, why am I taking this for granted, or why did I take this certain situation for granted? And of course, it could be the two of you, this person thinking this and you thinking this, but I'm getting that either way, there's a feeling of a lot of things wanting to be expressed. I'm seeing somebody writing in like a journal, a diary, so there could be a lot of words to be expressed. I keep looking at the Seven of Swords, and it seems like there's pent-up words, pent-up emotions between both at this time, and it's almost like it's a stampede I'm getting with the Ace of Cups here and the Ace of Wands, but in different ways. Again, it's almost like with the Four of Pentacles, the Nine of Wands, this is like a pent-up energy, almost like a dam that is not open kind of, and it has to open. That's what it feels like right now. So energetically, maybe some of you feel this tension. Maybe you've been feeling like something is happening or something is brewing, but there's a feeling of it's a really interesting energy, because it's almost like with the Knight of Pentacles, maybe things are not really moving right now. So for those of you who could resonate with this specific story, maybe things are not physically in the material world happening between you and this person, but it almost feels like energetically there is. So maybe there's a bit of confusion between what you're seeing and what you're feeling on an intuitive, energetic level, because it's almost like that's kind of what I'm getting here. I feel like the Divine Masculine is coming up as somebody who is having this kind of heart opening, but I'm hearing something like, I don't want to start and stop, or I don't want to, like, kind of like I mentioned with the Dam and the Ace of Cups, this Divine Masculine over here could be having like a heart opening or awakening, but it's like not wanting to maybe miss the mark, or not wanting to move too quickly with this Knight of Pentacles here. So it's like the Three of Wands, Knight of Pentacles, there's planning, there's preparation right now between both, and it feels like that's why Spirit said the spiritual strength with the Nine of Wands coming up as the outcome in the next like 1 to 2 months or so. It feels like both twin flames here will really have to harness this spiritual strength to get through the challenges that are here until we can kind of have this new beginning actually manifest in the physical world. And it feels like there's also, they keep bringing me back with the Seven of Swords to like a snake's energy, but in this case it's more of like, I feel certain things that have to go, they don't align anymore. And this is actually on both sides, especially actually the Divine Feminine coming up here with the Four of Pentacles as your feelings towards the masculine. And of course these can be kind of interchangeable, but there's just this pent up energy that has to go. I'm hearing something about taxes. So I don't know if somebody is stressed about taxes coming up, or there's a feeling of something to do with like maybe the practical concerns or financial matters. But what I was saying is that I feel I kind of lost the train of thought here, but there was something I'm getting that both are kind of going through. I'm hearing that both twin flames are definitely missing each other. There's a longing, there's a yearning on both ends right now. So if you're feeling this way, then it's likely that your twin flame is also feeling this way right now. And again, I think that's why the Three of Wands is here. It was a snake's energy that I was hearing. The Hierophant, it's like I feel there's a lot that is being kind of, it's as we enter into the new season too, I'm getting with the spring coming up, it's like there's a shedding of the skin. With the Hierophant here, I feel like there's a higher purpose calling both to embark on this new journey, this new quest with Ace of Cups, Ace of Wands. So I'm hearing something about being single. So it could be that maybe I'm hearing the name Diana or Diane, but it could be the divine masculine here. It could be either becoming single or is opening his heart more. So if that is a factor, being single, that could be something that is happening here. Yeah, there's a feeling of like what Spirit's showing me. It's almost like if somebody is stranded in the ocean and they are kind of, or on like a desert, and you have one of those, what do they call the emergency things that you fire in the air, the fire things. I'm getting that somebody could be energetically doing this, in which I feel there's something calling, which is coming up for both of you though. So it could be that in different ways you both have this calling, not even about each other necessarily only, but there's a feeling of like, almost like an alarm going off somehow with the Seven of Swords and the Eight of Cups, that it's time to move forward, to invest in something more. It's time to have a new beginning. It's time to have a new start. So again, I feel like, and I'm hearing Spirit say this could have been a very tumultuous time for one or for both of you, depending on how this plays out, in which a lot of things in the world, in their, like in your life or in your counterpart's life, has recently fallen apart or has recently gone through a big upheaval, which is what has catalyzed and kind of pushed forward this new calling. And so there's a feeling of like, we can't be anywhere any longer that we don't fit into anymore. We can't sustain being in this situation or relationship or location or marriage or whatever it is, that we can't sustain any longer. And so that's where this is coming up as the two new starts, the new beginnings, and the Three of Wands, because on both ends for the twin flame collective, there's a feeling of something more coming, something more brewing, and being called to something more. I'm also getting a detox. So some of you could be doing like a detox program, or maybe the divine masculine is, or maybe even both of you. Again, in certain ways, you're both mirroring this aspect. So if you feel called, the World and the Ten of Cups, to do some type of detox, in a healthy way that is okay for your body, maybe doing something like that to kind of get the energy moving outward, or get the energy moving, even like it's almost like the chakras here too. So maybe doing some type of energetic cleanse. It kind of feels like the whole body though, like I said, the dam opening. There's a feeling of like having to release pent-up energy, having to release this energy. So that's something that you're being called to do, and also for the masculine as well. I'm getting also that I'm seeing a diamond here when I'm looking at the Ten of Pentacles. So this is the masculine's feelings towards the feminine here. So he could even be thinking about moving towards more of a stronger form of commitment, or enhancing his kind of perspective on commitment, with the Ten of Cups here too. There's a feeling of, I feel like it's an interesting mixture because the divine masculine is coming up as somebody right now who's been opening to more, maybe again, the heart, the emotion, the spiritual aspect even of his life, of his connection with you, with the Hierophant. But at the same time, he's also wanting to blend that into the physical world, blend it into the material world with the Ten of Pentacles. So maybe practically wanting to move a level up kind of in a connection with you, even if you're like in a separation. There's a feeling of him moving through a lot of thoughts about what could that look like or what could that be with this Ten of Pentacles here. Yeah, it's like I feel like there's a part of the divine masculine right now that's been going through a time where he's been thinking that he's been missing the mark in many ways with the Two of Swords. He hasn't been feeling very maybe fulfilled or open or happy like in certain ways in his life. And so I feel like he's with the Ace of Cups, it's like there's nowhere left to go other than up now. If we've exhausted every other opportunity or if we've exhausted every other kind of way of living, then we have to move in a different way. And that's what I feel like the divine masculine's been going through right now. He has been feeling that there's been a lot of challenges. Again, I'm getting, for those of you who have been in contact with this masculine, there may have been some like recent miscommunications or hiccups I'm hearing in communication, maybe been out or in of communication here and there. It's like speed bumps, you know, we have to slow down and go over the speed bump to get forward, to move on. So I feel like even if it's not that you're in communication, this could just be in general the way that he's been internalizing love and connections with this Ace of Cups here. I feel like it had to do a lot with the environment I'm hearing. It has a lot to do with his environment, where he's been, the people around him, his upbringing, the Hierophant, things like that that have been almost like clouding his vision of what he really wants in a connection and with this spiritual connection that you have with each other. And with the Ace of Cups, it feels like I'm also seeing a lot of tears. So again, the reference again of like the Dam, yeah, Queen of Cups and the Four of Cups, a lot of emotion. So either you or the divine masculine, assuming that you're the feminine, but you can just reverse it or take both. But there's a lot of tears here, a lot of like either crying, like actually crying, or energetically almost needing to purge that, needing to cry it out. Especially I think for the feminine though, honestly, but it really goes both ways. But if you have been feeling like there's been pent up emotions within you, the feminine here is needing to kind of cry it out, almost purge it out, let it go, let it out, with the Queen of Cups here and the Four of Cups. And this could actually be transferring over to kind of what the masculine is going through in certain ways, to opening his heart. So the more that you both are doing the work on yourself, the more it facilitates the movement of the connection. Look at that. As I said that, the Emperor and the Empress just flew out. Exactly. I feel like you're both definitely mirroring each other right now. I'm also getting a vision of Pinocchio, and Spirit often shows me that knows when it's about somebody who's not being honest or somebody who has not been honest. So this could even be miscommunications, like I said before, or maybe if you somehow you're both haven't been honest maybe with your own lives recently, or how you both feel about each other. Here's the moon coming up again. So I feel like the moon is definitely very important right now to your emotions. It could even be a time to purge with the full moon, something to do with having to be honest. But let me see a little bit more here. I feel like, again, I'm getting for those, it really, I mean, it goes both ways, but it depends on if this is like if you're in contact or not. There's something I'm getting about the masculine here, wanting to almost like carve out more time for quality time, for like actually being physically in each other's lives. So if you're already talking, then he could be wanting to do this, to spend more time with you, to find a way with the Ace of Swords to kind of like see things a bit differently in his circumstance, to bring more quality time to the connection, bring more of this new river, like with Ace of Cups, into this connection here. But again, I'm getting that he could be having a bit of a hard time with communication. For those of you who are in communication, but even if you're in separation, it's still a feeling of like, even if he feels these things, there's a sense of having a hard time actually communicating this right now. So feeling it, desiring it, but having a hard time actually articulating it here is the feeling I'm getting. Let me see. I'm actually getting a vision of both, again, Ace of Wands, Ace of Cups. It's like I'm getting a hand being reached out from your side and a hand being reached out from their side. So you both almost like reaching hands together and wanting to conjoin that together. So mastering the self, yin and yang, achieving balance. So that's why the masculine and feminine flew out to the Emperor and the Empress. Right now, energetically, the two of you together are really in a place of mastering both of yourselves to the point where you're able to come out of any dark night of the soul, any suffering, any scarcity. And since you do have over here the Four of Pentacles, I think for some of you with the spiritual strength coming in here the next month or two, it's like you both energetically or actually together, if you're together, are going to have to go through a time of like kind of getting rid of the final layers of feeling that there's been scarcity or feeling like there's been a lack mindset or not enough or that you can't make this work, or even things externally that are preventing, like financially, things like that I'm getting. But the connection here between you both right now, I'm getting a wolf here coming through too, like a lone wolf, a howling wolf. So it feels like a time of strength. It feels like a time of having to have inner strength and confidence right now for both of you to navigate this forward. Yes, you could be having a lot of telepathic communication right now with each other. So pay attention to what you're getting. Pay attention to how you're feeling, what you're thinking about, because you both could be picking up, it says you're picking up on each other's thoughts. And I'm getting this for some of you, this message where this Seven of Swords has actually been, I don't know if you've been consciously doing it or if it's more on one side than the other, but someone here, if not both of you, have almost been, that's why the honesty part came through. It's almost like you've been neglecting how you're really feeling about each other, or you've been pushing down the thoughts that are coming up somehow. Like maybe there's a feeling of not believing or not trusting that there is this telepathic communication right now, or even like trying to ignore it or run away from it even, I'm kind of getting. So that's where that kind of siren came in, or that flame, that I had mentioned, the emergency signal. There's a feeling of something that has been calling to awaken this kind of feeling of not being honest about something here. There's something that's been avoided between you both, I feel. But I'm hearing Spirit say that you both have really come very far, okay? You both have really come very far in the recent times, especially. Like, even if you've known each other for a long time, there's still a feeling of like you've mastered some level of really difficult, that's why you have two aces here. There's a new potential for a new start. And so unveiling the layers, like especially if you are already talking or coming up soon, maybe even, there's a feeling of wanting to unveil the layers and really get to know each other's souls again, or all over again. There's something like that coming up here, I feel, and this is where it feels a bit kind of, not completely open, and also on the masculine side in a different way. There's a feeling, I'm getting the masculine has been overthinking a little bit too much, trying to logically move through this with the Two of Swords, when really it's more about the heart opening that he's been feeling. And I think for the feminine, it's more of like stagnant emotions or stuck energy or stuck emotions I'm getting, or even a fear. I keep getting a message about time, of like needing to have time, quality time, or something about time restraints. So maybe the masculine side has been concerned about whether or not he's able to give enough time to the connection, or there has been an issue before. There's a feeling of, if for those of you who have been intimate with this person, or even if it's, yeah, it feels like a sense of thinking a lot about the feminine in a very intimate way recently. And you also have the Ace of Wands. But I'm hearing Spirit say that a lot of things have moved to the higher chakras, I'm hearing. So in a way, if there was any tendency before for the masculine to be a bit closed off emotionally, Two of Swords, or as I said before, maybe like back and forth, or being in this speed bump energy of even entertaining other things before, Seven of Cups, there's a feeling of like energetically it's been rising to his sort of crown chakra in a way to open a feeling of this unconditional love, of wanting to have, you know, Ten of Pentacles, maybe even having a commitment in the material world with the Ten of Pentacles, wanting to be in maybe even having a family if that's what you want, or just moving towards more of a commitment, definitely is what the masculine has been thinking here towards the feminine. But it hasn't been easy. It's been a feeling of it's almost like I feel for some of you, this divine masculine may have tried to entertain, not just like romantically speaking, but many things that almost like I'm getting a vision of somebody casting a net in the sea. And then when you take it up, it really, there's no fish there, you know, like it didn't really catch the fish that he wanted. Not just romantically though, could even be here's money again coming up. So it could be many things, but there's just a feeling of like, it's kind of become a bit dull, you know, and that's where this feeling of maybe like lack comes in, or being stranded on an island and having to call for help because there's a feeling of nothing here is really fulfilling anymore. So there's like an emergency call from Spirit about how to replenish the love again in the heart. I hope that makes sense here. I am hearing for you, the feminine over here, is assuming that that's you, but again, you can reverse it. You may have been somebody who, I'm hearing for someone specific, if this masculine did not choose you first, or has chosen something else, or did choose something else, that could be one of the blockages and one of the fears that you're working through right now. But at the same time, you also have had an awakening. You've also had the sense of moving towards a higher understanding. See how you're both mirroring each other too. And I'm actually getting a feeling for someone out there, there's a sense of, I don't know what year span this is, but I'm hearing something about like, let's just use an example, like 10 years. I don't know if it is 10, but something about when you started 10 years ago has wrapped up a cycle now that you began 10 years ago. Something about like the full circle spin of a situation, of your own growth, your own process, even if it's just like 2 years, or there's just a feeling of something coming to the edge and kind of being released in terms of, or needing to be. I think it's, maybe you're still working on this. That's why we have the 9 of Wands, because it has to move to the 10 of Wands to start the Ace of Wands. So there's a feeling of things right now between you and this masculine being on the verge, on the precipice. Yeah, the masculine here, the way that he's feeling about you, he's still having to, it's like I'm seeing somebody doing laundry, and I'm getting it's two things with that. It's a feeling of unfamiliarity that he still feels in his heart, of a fear of intimacy, 7 of Cups. It kind of gives me the same, it almost kind of looks like the same man here too. There's something that's like he's been overplaying when it comes to fear of intimacy, fear of getting maybe too close emotionally. 2 of Swords, Ace of Cups. But the thing is I feel like this Ace of Cups is here regardless of if he's ready for it. There's a feeling of it's having to move up now. It's having to be cleansed now. And so he could have been somebody who has been really toughening his heart, really kind of putting a big shield over his heart space. And this may have been a long time, even for some of you, a long separation, or he's been waiting to, like with the laundry, he could have had to sort of metaphorically take out dirty laundry in a way. I'm getting this masculine could also be someone who's been focusing a lot on his physical appearance in order to feel more confident. So maybe like working out or something about, I'm getting somebody combing their hair with some type of gel. So there could even be something about wanting to be more presentable or working on his self-image. Yeah, it's like this, it's a kind of a bit of a, yeah, the Tower. Wow. I'm getting a vision of this masculine standing kind of what looks to be like a swamp. Again, this is metaphorically, that's not literal, but the swamp water is like all the way up to the kneecap. And with the Tower here, the Ten of Swords, the Justice, there's a feeling of him having to, it's like the swamp is very dense too. It's like to walk, kind of like quicksand, but not completely quicksand. A feeling of like a swampy quicksand. And he has to move beyond that, but to do that takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of muscle movement. It takes a lot of energy to move out of that kind of dense swampland feeling. So the way that he's feeling right now towards the feminine is wanting to cleanse this swamp out, you know, wanting to, like I said, to take the dirty laundry out. It's like something about the density of what has happened before has been accumulating to the kneecaps now, and he wants to be able to drain that water, but there's a feeling that it would require him to bring justice to you. Okay, even if that's depending on what it is, it could be bringing justice in the form of an apology, in the form of wanting to make things right, in the form of maybe needing to cut something else out in order to come towards you. It could also be just wanting to be more equal in your relationship, be more balanced, bring more balance into the partnership here. So I definitely am getting that. It's like, again, I'm seeing a dust on the shelves that has not been dusted in a long time. And some of this could even be you. You know, I think that it really does mirror each other both ways, but that's something I'm picking up on here. Yeah, there's just a lot of regret. It's like I'm picking up a lot of heaviness right now for the masculine. There's a feeling of a lot of regret, a lot of the swamp kind of is the best way to describe it. I feel like he is in a state of just going back to the swamp, because I don't know how else to put it. It's like one foot maybe or one leg has come out of the swamp, but the other leg is still in the swamp. And so there's a feeling of like he's halfway out of the woods with that, or out of the swampy water, but then he also feels like he has to do the other part now. And so there's a feeling of that kind of verge feeling that I was getting before too, with the Ace of Cups, Ace of Wands, of something being on the precipice. And remember, Spirit said in the beginning too, this next month or two is going to require a lot of spiritual strength for both of you. And I'm hearing it's going to be it's really about self-love for both. In different ways, you're both going to be really having to work on even more self-love than you have before, because it feels like, it's almost like if something increases in intensity before, I don't know, like, it's like it's almost, if something is almost here, we can see the finish line, so we can speed up a little bit. You know, it's like if you're running a marathon and you see the finish line, you have more of a motivation to move quicker to get to the finish line. But if you don't even see it at all and you have like miles and miles to go, then you're not as motivated to kind of go to the finish line, if that makes sense. So that's kind of what I'm getting, where things are heading in the next month or two is going to be about self-love while seeing the finish line. I'm also hearing too that the one or both of you, I think it's more of the masculine, but it really could be both, is going to wonder if what did I just lost the message. There was something that somebody's going to be wondering a lot about, like, is it too late? Or there was some certain type of fear, of a concern of like, maybe I can't make it to the finish line. What does the next month or two here hold? There's a lot to talk about. So again, if you're in contact already, I feel like there's this kind of lingering concern about knowing that there's a lot to talk about. Maybe you both need to open up a little bit more. Maybe you both are moving through all of this kind of confusion here that we had seen in order to open up a little bit more to the connection. And I think the next month or two, again, is going to require this sort of spiritual strength, which actually we have here, the High Priestess and the Star, in order to get through that kind of fog. So if there's been miscommunications, if there's been things that have, I'm also hearing evil eye, so there could even be certain things projected from outwardly, but you both are going to have to really talk things through, you know, in a way that's requiring your strength to get through that, even if there's concerns, even if there's confusion. But for those of you who are not in communication at all, I feel like it's mainly the masculine who's been thinking about how there's a concern about how to bring this topic up. There's a concern about how to open up maybe the lines of communication with the Page of Swords, how to bring about this information in a way that's going to make sense, how to articulate it. So there's definitely a lot of, is this the best way to put it, like the finish line, but knowing that to get there, we have to sort of make sure that we don't just collapse before the finish line. We have to have the strength to get through it while also doing it right, you know? So the next month or two, yes, so awakened eyes. So something definitely happened here in terms of being touched by spirit, having a life-changing experience. It's like I'm getting a puzzle being put back together, or actually the last puzzle piece was missing and then somebody found it and they could put it back to make the whole puzzle complete. And I think that's partially what again, both are going through, but for the masculine, it's more of like a feeling of maybe there was an emptiness that he's wanting to find. Even, it could be specific. For some of you, it's specific. It could even be with the Page of Swords. There's a specific conversation that wants to be had about like that piece that was missing, which is going to be different for everyone. Maybe it was some lingering concern of your relationship that you never addressed, or maybe it was something that was found that kind of put the puzzle together. I don't know what it is for you, but there's something about like that final piece being kind of put together on both ends to make more of a complete puzzle piece. It has a lot to do, even if it's going to be different, it has a lot to do with recognizing where we went wrong and recognizing where our past actions have hurt the other person, especially for the masculine, because I'm just noticing the King of Wands. But, you know, this card keeps coming up in almost every reading, so it feels like it's probably the next like 3 months or so, there may be some type of conversation or some movement here happening. But for others of you, the time frame is not determined right now, so it's going to depend. It's kind of fluid here. Let me grab one of these, and then I'll get some messages from this person to you. I don't know why I keep seeing somebody look in the mirror and now they're putting like whitening strips on their teeth. So I don't know if somebody's doing that, but I saw before like combing the hair. So there's a feeling of like someone may be focusing on their physical appearance, or maybe this is just Spirit's way of saying, and I did hear detox before too. So yeah, maybe somebody's going through like a wanting to sort of physically glow up, but it's also coming from within to start with, you know. Reconciliation. This is a coming together with someone and working on whatever has torn you apart. This could be a past connection. This person's praying for a new beginning with you. You may be receiving an apology or compromise. This may pertain to the possibility of a second chance. Yes, communication and trust your intuition. There's a need for clear communication of wants and needs in this relationship or connection. Work on communicating and connecting in different ways that are positive, healthy, and effective. Fully connect with this person and let them know how you feel. And that's what I was getting with the concern. And when the Emperor and the Empress flew out too, there was a feeling of, and the Seven of Swords, there is some topic that maybe is avoided, specific topic, or maybe it's just like there's so much to, like all the dust that has accumulated has resulted in so much to talk about, especially if it is like a separation for a while. There's so much dust here that's like, to talk about it would be a tower moment in itself. But it can also just be if you're already talking, there's a feeling of like you both wanting to communicate more effectively and efficiently in order to have the next steps. And then trust what you're feeling. Trust your intuition. Listen to what your intuition is telling you about this situation or person. Your feelings are real. Tune into your inner guidance and follow it. You already know the answer. So whatever you're feeling right now intuitively is very spot on. So listen to what you're feeling. So let me see what this person wants to say to you. So whoever you're watching this for, we have glow up. You've changed, and I have definitely noticed. So maybe some of you are doing those things that I mentioned where you are working on your physical appearance, but and if this person has a way to see you, they could be seeing that you have definitely gone through a glow up. That could be part of the concern here too. Sometimes I just want to take a risk or a chance, message you and see what happens, spontaneous. So this masculine here, if that's who you're, if this is coming from the masculine, for most of you I think it would be, but if it's the feminine, then take it that way. There's a feeling of wanting to be spontaneous, wanting to just maybe text or call or something of the sort to pop in and see just what happens. Again, the Ace of Cups is bringing this light-heartedness energy almost in a way of wanting to, that dam that I had seen before, almost like wanting to unleash that, wanting to let that go, and maybe even like all this pent-up energy of dishonesty or miscommunications or not knowing where you stand with each other, not knowing what the future holds. There's this feeling of like frustration that's beginning to be felt here. So wanting to just do something kind of spontaneously. And for some, that could be in the next 3 months or so. So see, this card flew out before, or not flew out, but I had seen it at the bottom. And when I looked over here, we have this card Discernment. It says, shallow, you deserve someone who can meet you halfway. I'm not ready for the real deal. But then here at the bottom, we have, I feel the universe is working to bring us together. The signs are everywhere. So I think this person, like I said, with the whole quicksand or swamp energy, it's like I feel like this person here, the masculine, is at a place where they are beginning to acknowledge that they have to kind of move themselves out of that swamp because it's not bringing them the Ten of Pentacles. It's not bringing them more of that fulfillment. So I think that's what Spirit was referencing with the fire, the warning fire thing in the air, is because I feel like this person here in a way is someone who maybe in the past, if you had a past, they may have shown you red flags that you couldn't trust them maybe. And I think that this person is feeling like there's still kind of half of their soul is like in the swamp of that shallow energy, and then the other half of their soul is starting to have this heart opening, which is making it very confusing for them, especially if there were somebody who showed up mainly in like a sensual or sexual way to you, or maybe even other connections that they were entertaining. There may be a feeling of like that starting to wind down or starting to feel a bit empty, and wanting to focus more on what is more like kind of sustainable. So this person here, this masculine, is someone who's in the middle between those two worlds. very stubborn too. This could be for some of you, this could be a Taurus, Leo, Aquarius, Scorpio. We have, you radiate light and beauty. I love being around you, but it triggers my shadow at times. And see how different, it's like we have happy at the bottom. You make me so happy, the world falls away when we're together. So this definitely, this masculine is very confused. There's a part of them that is, again, kind of like wanting to almost like unleash this, be spontaneous, kind of take a risk towards you, or even take a risk and a chance towards love, towards opening the heart. But then there's the other half that feels like the happiness is almost too much to feel. It's weird. It's like a fear of being happy, a fear of even feeling that happiness because of the fear of intimacy that could come across with it or come along with it. It was a right person, wrong time situation. In a perfect world, I would be with you right now. I'm hearing Stewart. It could be for somebody. We have forces. It isn't easy to make this work. There are many obstacles in our way. Let's get one more. Flow. I'm not in any rush. Let's just go with the flow and see where it takes us. At the bottom we have, so sensual. Again, we have here, I can't stop thinking about our intimate times. And then we have, I'm trying to figure out the best way to approach you. That's why I'm taking so long. So that's what I'm getting here. Take these how they'll resonate with you. And how this will connect with the reading that we had earlier. But yeah, this person's kind of in between here. So I'm gonna leave it here. I hope that this reading could help. Thanks so much for tuning in. Let me know if this connects with you, and I will talk to you next time. Lots of love and take care.